In SQL 2005 and continued in future versions, there was an XML data type. This XML data type offered new abilities like the ability to query using an XQuery to get part of an XML value out of an XML stream. SQL has the ability to query XML directly in your SQL 2008 development environment. In the last chapter, we explored the query method of the XML data type. Now, this allowed us to take an entire XML and decide which part of that XML we want to query. Let's say we're just going to take this last song, query that, and then pull it out. Well, you use the XML query method and specify which node you want to see. Sometimes you don't want an XML fragment. You just want a piece of data. Perhaps you want one single value, like pretend you want the word Roy Orbison, but you don't want the elements around it. You can grab just the piece of data using another method called the value method. Now, sometimes you might not want to pull any data at all. You might just want to verify that a certain piece of data is there. For example, let's say that the song with title ID 13161, is that present? Well, let's scan. This first one is not 13161. How about the next one? No, that's not it either. But there's more stuff to scan, so let's keep going. We see a match yet? What we're looking for is right here. So, this does exist. A 1 is returned. Why? Because you called the XML exists method. It returns a 1 if it found it. It returns a 0 if it's not there. What if you want to make a change or an update to a value in your XML? For example, look at the first song called Red, Red Wine. What if you think that should have been called Red-Red Wine? In other words, you want it to look like this. Well, you can achieve this result with a method called xml.modify. Let's start off by doing something we're familiar with and then expanding into a new method. This query method is going to go to the music song level, in other words, the top node level. Let's run that, and notice we get this first song, which is Red Red Wine, the second song, which is Manic Monday, and now we have a third song called Pretty Woman. Now, let's change that so we just get the first song. Okay, we see Red Red Wine. Okay, let's further change that so we only get the singers of the first song. It looks like the singers are Neil Diamond and UB40. Well, let's just grab the first singer of those two singers. I'm going to put a parenthesis around here, and then a 1. And there we get Neil Diamond. Now we just want the varchar Neil Diamond, so we're gonna take the value for Neil Diamond. Now let me run this. It says, you know what? When you specify value, you do need to specify your XQuery path like you did, but you also need to say what data type it is. Is Neil Diamond a decimal? Is it a geography point? Is it a varchar? So what we're going to do is we're going to put a comma for our second argument. And the words Neil Diamond makes a mighty fine varchar, so that's the data type I want it to become. It'll be an nvarchar 100. Let's run that. And there, it says Neil Diamond. And notice it's not a hyperlink. Let's go back to looking at all of the top-level nodes. In other words, all of the songs. Let's run this. This query pulls out a fragment of the 3 top-level songs, Red Red Wine. This song is 13160, Manic Monday, and 13161, Pretty Woman. Okay. Let's drill down a little more. Let's look for the fragment that consists of song title 13161, regardless of where it is. So I'm going to say the title ID must be equal to 13161 in order for it to appear in the fragment for the XQuery. Let's run this, and look, it found 13161 and showed you the XML. Now, interestingly enough, what if I put 13162? Well, there is no 13162. What's going to happen? We get nothing. We don't get an error. We just get nothing. How about 13160? Well, we get some XML. Now, let's say I don't really want the data. I'm just testing to see if it's there. Let's change the method to exists. Does 13161 exist? 1 means yes, it does. Does 13162 exist? No, it does not. How about 13160? I believe that's Manic Monday. That exists. We get a 1. How about 13159, red wine? Yep, that exists. Is there a song 13158? Not in this XML. So exists gives you a 1 if it finds what you're looking for in the XQuery, and it gives you a 0 if it's not there. It doesn't actually return the data. It just tells you if it exists. Now we're gonna explore the modify method, but first let's start off by querying the song 13160. What is that? Ah, that's Manic Monday, written by Prince. Let's go ahead and close our XML window. Now what we want to do is we want to pull out just the title. Let's run this. There, we get just this value. Now we only want the text, so let's change it so it only pulls the text out. Let's go TEXT and run that. And there we go, just as Manic Monday, but notice it was a hyperlink. XML thinks it's possible that a title could have multiple song elements. If that did happen, we'd have 2 rows of text. Now, songs aren't made that way, but SQL doesn't know that, so we need to turn this into what's known as a singleton. I need to guarantee SQL that it's only going to pull out 1 value, and I'll do that by saying pull out the first value. So this is a very reassuring way, so SQL Server knows it has a singleton, because when you're updating a value, you can only update 1 at a time. So this XQuery doesn't change the way it looks, because it only pulls out the first one, which is Manic Monday, but change your method from query to modify. Now, this won't work until you put replace value of, and let's drop it down a line so we can see it. So we're going to replace this 1 value, Manic Monday, with walk like an Egyptian. Okay, let's see if this works. And it says, you know what? You can't use modify with a non-mutator method. Non-mutator? Well, a select statement is not capable of updating. A select statement is only capable of looking at data. So we need to change the select into an update. So let's say update the name of the table, and let's set this particular value to what you see here. Let's run this, and it says 1 row affected. Let's see exactly what that looks like now. Let's paste in a query that uses the XML query method to look. What does song 13160 look like? Well, let's run this query. Let's expand the hyperlink. There it is. Walk like an Egyptian. Lab 6.1, Skill Check 1. Prince did not write walk like an Egyptian. Using what you've learned, change the writer name to Liam Sternberg for song 13160. Skill Check 2. A band name was misspelled. It should be The Bengals, not Bangles. Make this change to correct the name. Skill Check 3. Use the exists method on the Olympics table to see if there is an event named boxing 178.5 pounds. Skill Check 4. Using what you've learned, change the name of title 13159 to add a hyphen to make the title element red-red wine.